Come on, bear. Relief. The woes of travelling. The woes of travelling. Hey boys. Hey? Yeah. Go on, have a look around. Go. Freedom. So this is the second day in 2024 here in New Zealand, and the weather is good, you know, everything is great, but it's not. There's hardly anybody on the street. The supermarkets are virtually empty. The holiday resorts are not as full of people as they used to be. Everything's gone backwards. People stay at home. It's cheaper to stay at home. They're lucky to pay their rent. They're skinned out. By the time they pay those horrendous rents, and their power bill and every other damn thing, they'll be working. They'll be working, trying to... Damn it, there's people here. There had to be somebody here today. Hey? Murphy's fucking law. Here, kids, come here. Here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Murphy's law. Shift listens, but Bear doesn't. He runs. Don't. Oh, for fuck's sake. Bit of a mish. It's a bit of a mish. There had to be somebody here today. Well, anyway, to cut to the quick, what it boils down to is we're sliding downhill, not uphill. It's getting difficult for families to look after their families, to cater for them. When I was young, our rent, we owned, but our rent was no greater than maximum 25% of the average man's net wages, take-home pay. So in today's money, that would be $218.37 here in New Zealand. But the rents are around $650 for a 3-bedroom home, $700. That's ridiculous. How do people survive? Crime was negligent. There was hardly any crime. When I was a kid, it was unnecessary. It was totally scorned upon. Look at it now. The crime rate's evolving. Like everything else, it's going backwards. And, you know, New Zealand is a beautiful place. It really is. And it shouldn't be like that. There's only 5 million people here. That's all there is. You know, look at Singapore. There's 30 million people there. And their GDP is huge compared to ours. And everybody's doing okay. Well, it seems so. Just over here. No, New Zealand's going backwards. The bureaucrats are stealing. They can't help themselves. They've got into a situation where they've just got to help themselves. And how do they do it? It's through work association. They develop things for their mates and they all get a rake out of it. What are you doing here? Keep away. I'm coming this way and you're coming this way. You know I've got dogs. Bloody hell, people are so arrogant. Park's that huge and she's got to come over my side. You know, if I see someone with a dog and I've got my dogs, I'll take them to the other side of the park so that they've got their freedom. Shift, here. What is she doing now? Following me. Oh, Christ, I just got no fucking laurels. Here, come on. Good boy. Shifty. Here, here. So the second day of the new year, we're into 2024 already. And what's it going to bring us? Well, I'll make a prediction. Luxon, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, will not make it a better place to live, that's for sure. He'll sell New Zealand out under us. He's got no clues, he has no idea what generates what. It's all he's interested in is pay packet. That's all. That's the only reason he's there. He's not there for New Zealand, he's there for himself. They're living on the pig's back, off the fat of the land. They don't really care about us. No, they don't really care about us. So this park here is a memorial park? No, this is not a memorial park. It's Trooper George Hyde. It's to commemorate the death of Trooper George Hyde, orangutan killed in action in South Africa. Wow. There must have been some good games of cricket going down here years ago, and rugby. The Martin racecourse was full, totally full, chock-a-block, 60,000 people in 1929, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. How many people are there now? There isn't one. There's no racecourse. The population of Martin wouldn't be any more than 5,000. Everybody's inside on the internet, screwing themselves over on dopamine. AI has ruined the world. Not entirely ruined the world, but it's definitely taking us backwards, not forwards. There's a huge swing towards people wanting to get away from smartphones, and they just want to keep it simple. But the true factors to us going backwards in global warming and all that is the simple fact that Germany, for example, knows that it must stop one day a week for its environs to rejuvenate. It says in the Bible, in the beginning was man was created and everything was created by God, and it took him 6 days and he rested on the seventh. And he demanded that every man rest on the 7th, so that the earth can recycle, reboot, cool off. But there's that many aeroplanes in the sky, 12,700 of them every second of the day, all emitting huge amounts of heat into the atmosphere, and it can't get out. That it condenses at 70 degrees below zero. That heat comes out and it condenses, and it goes down into the atmosphere, and you get these humongous clouds building up, and these atmospheric rivers, massive river dumping going on from all the aeroplanes. There's 1,000 flights across America on a daily basis, not to mention the amount of military aircraft and things like that. So that's why New Zealand, the planet's going backwards, not because of fossil fuel. No, that's all bullshit. All the smog comes back to Earth as acid rain. All the CO2, methane and greenhouse gas, 95% of it or 85% of it is eaten up by the aquatic life, crustacean life on the sea floor. That's how things work. God had it all planned out, mate. As all we needed to do was take that one day off a week in line with universal circulation, as Jaeger puts it, whom discovered that everything is formed by the subatomic particles and spin. What are they doing? They are circulating, circuitously conducting. I can't remember how it all goes, but Dad told me all about it when I was a kid. And it forms everything round, like the planets, the stars, and it's all to do with circulation. Yeah. So anyway, to cut to the quick, we've been conned, we're duped, totally duped. We've been duped by the hypothesis money-making machine, because there's money in it. You see, Einstein's quantum physics is not all that it's cracked up to be. Nana told me that in a letter when I was 10 years old. So how long have we been out here? Several minutes. So I better cut this video short, because really I'm just a nobody, but I want to put it up onto YouTube because there are so many people out there that are feeling it. And I feel so sorry for them, because I knew what it was like to grow up in the land of plenty. And here in New Zealand, we're going backwards, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. Everybody should have a home. There's 100,000 people homeless, living on the streets or in the backyard of their children's properties or somewhere, because the governments have broken every promise they've made. I remember specifically what we were taught at school, and there were regulations put in place to stop rent from exploding, and everybody had plenty. We never went without. Everybody had plenty. Everybody was happy. The Māoris were well looked after. They had plenty. Now they're struggling. They're the ones that feel it most of all. I feel really sorry for the Māori people of New Zealand. I'm telling you, those poor buggers, Jesus Christ. I don't know how they survive, half of them. They're easily seduced. They've got high emotional quotients. Therefore, the moment they go without, they explode. Then there's mental health problems and things like that, and that's happening everywhere. Not just here in New Zealand, but in America and everywhere. And I've got a feeling it's to do with this gold thing. Dad said when they took the gold out of circulation as the backing of all cash, he said we're in trouble. I had no idea what he was talking about. How old was I? 13, yeah, 12, 13 years old. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I remember him telling me in the bakery, because we worked long nights together. And at a time when a loaf of bread was 25 cents and bread rolls were 3 cents, to cut to the quick, we were turning over $3,300 on a good weekend when a new car was $3,700 with seat belts. How's that? Family owned business, stand alone. I can remember the criticism, the critique he copped from everybody. What are you doing starting a business in a recession? It will fail, it won't go. He told everyone to mind their own business. How's that? Factamundo. So yeah, this fellow's just recovering, Google Mo's just recovering from COVID. That was a terrible episode to go through. I lost my horses because of it. Fucking SPCA went and confiscated them because arsehole caregivers didn't look after them. But I got there in time thanks to our police. And shift! Here! One had died, but the other two were poor, but I've seen worse. And the mare was still in foal. I gave them 800 kg of carrots and 600 kg of silage and spread it out in the paddock. And I vitamin boosted them in the morning and at night for 2 consecutive days, and they were lifting. And then the SPCA waited until I got there and started putting back all the rejuvenating my animals, and then they go and take them. They had no right to, because I was in charge. But they took them and they charged me a year later, 18 months later, because I would not stop complaining. And I called them a pack of arseholes, thieving friggin' arseholes, to steal a man's mare out of the paddock and foal and colt, and it could be seen. And plus they used subterfuge to get the judge to sign the warrant to confiscate the horses. They never showed all the feed in the paddock. They just showed the horses, and they filmed them from up high across the top of their backs. Well, naturally you're going to see their backbone when they're down. You can see my horse's backbone and it's in good nick. So a horse that's down, you're really going to see its backbone. But what they didn't show was the truth. If you had the photo of them from the side and shown all the carrots and silage and everything, the judge would not have issued the confiscation order. And also, I've got photos and I've got video. But they didn't know that. Shaft, get back. So we're going to have a lengthy, drawn-out court case, and I'm going to sue them for $2 million in loss of earnings out of a 6-winning mare family tree. And because that's by Rock de Cams out of a Westminster mare. That's the sort of thing that the Japanese buyers go for at the sales. You know, you put a Mr. Prospector over that lot, and that's what she was in foal to. And that was going to be her first foal, and they stole her like fucking hell. Shifty bastards, just like bureaucracy rats. Shifty bastards. They'll twist and make things to suit themselves, like the SPCA did that day when they showed the warrant, the photos of my horses to the judge. But when the judge sees the real photos and the real situation, he ain't going to like the SPCA. He's not going to like them at all. And it's about time somebody stood up to them, because they think they can just rock over and anyone over, stand over them and knock them over, so to speak. That Adam Sheenan's a fucking thief. That's all there is to it. A rotten scoundrel. And he's manic. And, you know, I tell you, mate, I can read people. I've been on the planet for long enough. I grew up in hospitality. You know, our family, my father used to sit and watch his tills because he was turning over so much money. We baked all night, and those girls would be stuffing the money down their pants or down their bras, and he had the most embarrassing job of arresting them, but rather not calling the police, just telling them to hop it. And then they'd call him a dirty old man because he was keeping an eye on his tills. Dirty fucking little bitches, you know what I mean? And they didn't have cameras in those days. We got cameras now, and that saves a lot of problem. That would have saved Dad a lot of sleep. Poor bugger didn't get any sleep. So I grew up in hospitality, and we know how to read people. And my father always gave. He had the heart of a Good Samaritan. Yeah, he didn't go to church often, but when he did, he gave all the good produce to the SPCA that never sold due to bad weather or whatever. No, the old man was tops in every way. For all his warts, he was better than he was bad, like all of us, as written in scripture. Because if that wasn't there, if we didn't have God's conscience, we wouldn't be here. So, to cut to the quick, I know how to read people. And I'll give you an example. Dad's sitting there watching his tills, and a big islander lady comes in, and she's scraping for money. She's got a huge brood behind her, and she can scrape up enough money to buy some donuts and some bread rolls. And Dad said, give that lady another dozen buns, another half a dozen donuts, and give her another couple of loaves of bread. And he said to her, have a good day. And she was a great big girl, and she was so grateful, you could see it on her face. And she said thank you, and the kids, oh mate, that made our day more so than anything. But I didn't go raving on about it, looking for a badge, look at me, I do this and that. Hell no, when he gave, he just gave. He didn't bother looking for accolades, look at me, I do this and I do that. Shit, no. He was a good man. And that Adam Sheenan isn't. He's a thief, a lying prick. He took my horses out of the paddock, and he had no right to. And they have to be given back to me. That's all there is to it. Or, no, because I've loss of earnings now, 2 years. They have to pay me. Even if they give them back to me, they still got to pay me. That's all there is to it. They can't go taking your livestock. They can't just hop in there and take them because they feel like it. That's all there is to it. I better end this video before I say any more. The Lord is with us for all those that believe, and the Lord is with them for all those that don't, because that's the way it is. So this is googlemo.com. Amen for 2024.